Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the show. My name is Michael Rebello. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur who chose entrepreneurship over the traditional college path. I'm driven by my passion to retire my mother and to help other middle Americans like her to learn about and invest in multifamily real estate syndications to build long-lasting financial freedom. And today, I'm joined by a guest and good friend, Brent. How you doing?
Good, Michael.
To see you.
Thanks for having me.
So, Brent, I've heard many good things about you, but my audience hasn't. So I would love for you to introduce yourself. What do you do? And take it away.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Well, I'm living in Denver, Colorado. I grew up in Ohio. Went through high school. After I graduated high school, I went into college. I spent 6 years in college, shuffling through 3 different majors, struggling almost just about every minute of that. It was difficult. Growing up, I was a C student at best, and I really didn't like school at all. I didn't really have an idea that there was anything other than going to college. And I'm lucky to have been able to go to college. I feel good about that. It's actually a privilege, but I didn't really have the right focus at the time. I was very young, and so it was difficult. I shuffled through 3 different majors, graduated with a computer information system degree in December of 2000. So if you can recall what happened in March of 2001, that was the dot-com bubble crash. So with having a computer information system degree, going through college the whole time, it was, oh my gosh, you're going to graduate, you're going to have this job opportunity at Oracle or Sun Country and all these other great opportunities. You'll be making 50, 60. Jimmy just graduated and he got a $70,000 job. So everything was really roses and rainbows and butterflies going through that. And then literally, as I was crossing the line to graduate, the dot-com bubble popped. So that was that. And thank God, right? Because that was never me. It really wasn't me, even though I thought it was going to be me. It wasn't me. I'm not a corporate America guy. And I'm not really a person that sits at my desk and doesn't really like sitting at my desk that much. So I don't like writing code. I never really did, but I thought it was going to be an opportunity that was interesting at the time, and it was, it had this sexy appeal to it. Instead, after I graduated, I had several different jobs. At one time, I got a job working at a paint contracting company, and I was a painter. I was making $9 an hour painting. I hated it. I was climbing 40-foot ladders and working outside all day. It was very difficult, but I got good at it. And I've always had my own job. I've only had really one job in my life. A JOB job. I started working delivering papers when I was very little. I had a paper route. For many years, though, I mowed lawns for many years, and that was really good. And so I've always had my own job for the most part, and so here we are now. I own a commercial paint contracting company, 27 years doing it, and started from zero, absolutely zero, nothing. Had to borrow some money from my mom, and here we are today.
That's awesome. Brent, thank you for sharing your story, and it's a very complex and yet so dynamic story about your journey through college, high school, everything, where you grew up, and then the dot-com bubble hitting. A lot of people suffer through the dot-com bubble. Individuals like yourself, especially graduating with that degree, and all of a sudden it's like, poof, now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, really? All that work for nothing? But what's interesting is I would love to kind of ask you this question where, I don't know if you know the answer, but kind of at least throw in a ballpark, something. Where would you be right now if you did utilize that computer degree and the dot-com bubble never happened? I know the world would be a lot different, but how would your life be different right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I probably would have quit by now. I just do think. Yeah. I probably would have given it a little effort, probably quite a bit of effort as well, but I think just knowing me, who I am as a person, I'm just not that person. It's climbing the ladder in corporate America. It's doing the things you got to do in corporate America, and I'm just not corporate America kind of guy.
Right.
So I don't think I would have lasted really that long at all, honestly.
Interesting. And there's a couple of things you did mention. You're not a corporate America kind of guy. That wasn't really your niche. You have trouble sitting at a desk for hours on end. So do I. I have to be doing something.
That's right.
You got to be moving around. And then you started to work for a paint contracting business, and now you own one, and you're very successful. But when you got up on those ladders in the sun, just working long hours of the day, doing multiple jobs, trying to figure out where you're going to go in life, what made you decide to become an owner of a company like that? What was that mental or mindset transition that you took to kind of just go down that path?
Yeah, I've always have had that mindset, honestly. I've always tracked my own path. I really have. And as soon as I got somewhat good at it, I asked the owner of that company, I said, hey, I was asking him questions about, hey, how did you start your business? What did you do first? And he always would look at me and kind of like smirk and think that that I would never really do it, And so I actually made business cards, and it was really simple. I just made business cards, handed them out. I've handed a lot of business cards out. Not even knowing really how to do it at all. But I eventually got one job. And that job led to several more after that. But I painted for the first 5 years in the business, and then and then at one point in time I had to paint, and then I also had to manage some of my guys at the time. Then I had to go run and do an estimate, and then I had to even have to come back to the office and put together some invoices and stuff like that. So it was wearing many hats at one time.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was an experience, but it was just who I am, and you just got to battle too.
Absolutely.
But the reward, it was very rewarding as well to build your own business.
Love that. And you're so right. It is very rewarding because you created that. It's ownership. It's very similar to what we have here at the New Orleans Investment Conference with the Main Street Media Network and with what Peter Schiff talks about, Brian London, Russell Gray, ownership, owning real estate. Kiyosaki talks about this. Ownership. Own it. Don't just invest in it, own it. And you own your company. It's like, why work for it when I could just own it and have people work for me into something I enjoy? I love that. And I kind of just want to see your perspective through your point of view because you have a lot more experience than I do. How important do you think entrepreneurship is today? Because you were an entrepreneur when starting out that company to go, you know what? I think I should be doing this. And you understood your purpose. You understood who you are as an individual. So from your perspective, how important is entrepreneurship today?
It's everything. For me, it's everything. And I think it's for everybody as well. I recently bought a URL called Trades Instead of Grades. Yep. So I firmly believe that that's one of the things I'm trying to push for, is for people is to give an opportunity for people who don't really feel like they need to be sitting at their office desk, or sometimes they're very uncomfortable going through school like I was. It was difficult for me. I really didn't do well at school. I don't like the formal education of this or that or the other. So I want to offer an opportunity for people to just to think at first, right? Start thinking about an opportunity outside of what you've been told is the right way of going.
Right.
Yeah. So we've just recently put together a URL that's called Trades Instead of Grades, where we're going to try to attempt to help people think about that at first, and then maybe giving them opportunity in the trades then thereafter.
Awesome. Brent, thank you so much for sharing that. And, I believe in the trades where, like, for example, you are a great testimonial where you had that degree, you are ready to go.
That's right.
Like, for example, the example of Jimmy, he's making $70,000 a year, especially back then. That's big numbers. And all of a sudden it's like, poof, now the dot-com bubble hits, and you realize that degree isn't a guarantee. And it's like, now what do I do? So I love that mindset of trades instead of grades, because once you learn those skills and when you embody them, nobody can take that away from you. I mean, the different factors like market cycles or world issues can take away your degree or maybe even put your degree into obsolete. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know we're just coming up to our time, but is there one thing that for anybody just coming out of college or just going into college, like for example, just to sit and think, what's the number one thing besides just sitting and thinking that they should do right now to put themselves on the right path, kind of like what you did?
Yeah. You know, I think the idea is for us to speak to a younger person. You know, it was very easy for me to do what I did before I got married, before I had kids. You see, so it's just simply easier at that point in time because your expenses are a lot lower. You know, so I'd say start early. You know, start now. Like you can't be too young to start. You know, don't think because you're a certain age you can't do it. You know, don't think that because you didn't get a good grade at this or that you can't do it. That's irrelevant.
Right.
So I'd just say it's your mindset, and start your mindset as early as you possibly can in life.
Awesome. Brent, thank you so much for your time and sharing your information and your story. For more information, please go on to brent@themainstreetmedianetwork.com. That will be the email that you can use to figure out more information about Brent and his painting services and his company as well, and to follow his story about trades over grades. So, of course, build yourself better and bigger every day. Live better, live bigger, always move ever forward. And Brent, thank you so much for your insight, your information, your wisdom.
Thanks, Michael.
It was a pleasure.